What's up guys, eDrone here. Today we're going to be talking about ND filters for the new DJI Mavic Air 2. Stay tuned. Lots of you probably already know about ND filters, and if you do, that's great. This video is going to be for those who may be just getting into photography, cinematic filming with your new DJI Mavic Air 2, and you may be asking yourself, what are these ND filters? What are they used for? Why do I need them? What makes them so cool? What makes them so great? And we're going to go over in this video some reasons why you might want to use ND filters and some reasons that you might not want to use ND filters. There's going to be different scenarios for different types of applications that you may or may not want to use ND filters. Let's go ahead and talk about what is an ND filter. It is a neutral density. It is a darkened glass filter that you put on the front, on the camera of your drone, and that darkens the image so that you're able to lower the shutter speed without having it be overly saturated or overly bright. And when we look at the motion blur, take a look when we pause the footage and we look at the vehicles. As the vehicles are moving, if we pause the footage, you can see that there's a little bit of blur on all the vehicles. That is what we're looking for. That is motion blur. That's what makes it look natural to the human eye when we watch videos, when we watch cinematography movies, and we see that natural motion blur. It looks more natural to what our eyes really see. If we look at this footage here, you can see with no ND filters, things are moving. Everything is perfectly in focus, even as it moves by. That just looks unnatural to our eyes. It doesn't look quite right. And that's where the neutral density ND filters really play a part in that nice cinematic footage. Now, when we talk about the polarized lenses of the ND filters, that actually is going to add a little bit of a step up as well to your cinematography type camera drone recording. The polarized glass lenses that they use on these ND filters will help with minimizing glare and reflections on light surfaces as well as water. So that way you get that nice, beautiful color, and it's going to minimize the glare that you get from the bright sunlight beating down on the water or vehicles or obstacles or buildings. Go ahead and set up our ND filters once we get it put on the drone. With the new DJI Mavic Air 2, you're going to go ahead and lay the drone on its back. You're going to go ahead and make the gimbal look straight upward while holding it with one hand, and the other hand you're going to take the bezel that's on the camera from the factory, and we're going to go ahead and twist that counterclockwise until it moves. Then you'll be able to pull that straight up, and that is just a bezel. There's no glass in there. Now we can go ahead and put our new ND filter in there, twist it clockwise to lock it into place while holding the gimbal, keeping the gimbal nice and protected, and it's that easy. And these cinema grade photography ND filters are made out of aircraft aluminum. They're very lightweight, and they're actually designed to be used with the gimbal so that you don't get any kind of gimbal motor overloading errors with these particular ND filters. I want to put some ND filters down in the video description, ND filters from Polar Pro and from Freewell, so make sure you check out those and if you want to get for your new DJI Mavic Air 2. Now, if you're interested in winning these Freewell hard stop variable ND filter 2-pack, make sure you look down in the video description and stay tuned to the end of the video, and we'll go over all the rules for you to win these filters. I really do like these new filters from Freewell because you can actually adjust the ND filter itself just by twisting the bezel. That way you don't have to put on multiple different types of ND filters. You can just use the one and you'll get different variable types of ND exposures. Now, the Freewell ND 1000 filter reduces the light by 10 f-stops to slow the shutter speed drastically. This filter will help you get smooth-looking, stunning long exposure pictures, and it also helps create perfect tones and color when you're filming outdoors. So make sure you check out the Freewell. I'll drop links in the video description, and enter to win this giveaway. You will be winning both sets of these ND filters, the hard stop variable 2-pack and the long exposure pack. Now, when it comes to the numbers of the ND filters, that's going to classify the darkness of the actual tint on the glass. So the higher the number, the darker the glass is going to be. Now, why would you want to use such a dark ND filter for your DJI Mavic Air 2 or your other cinematography drone? Well, if you have a really bright sunny day where the sun's at its highest and you have a lot of reflections off of sand or the beach water or just a really bright scenery, you're going to want to use that nice dark ND32 or possibly even darker to go ahead and be able to lower that shutter speed to half of the frame rate to get that perfect motion blur. Now, if you're going to be recording in the beginning of the day, right as the sun's starting to rise, that's when you might want to go ahead and use an ND8 filter or ND16, depending on the time of the day and how bright it is. Same thing with a sunset. You know, you want to use that 8 or that 16 to go ahead and not get it too dark to where you're going to lose some of that detail in your video. But if you go ahead and put your ND filter on for the certain time of the day, and actually a lot of these manufacturers actually have recommended times of the day and times of the year, and they'll actually be able to tell you like what time of the day you're going to want to use what particular ND filter for the numbers. So that's kind of a little bit of a help. I'll put a guide down in the video description to kind of help you guys with picking out that perfect ND filter for the time of day that you're flying. But let's go ahead and talk about the shutter speed rule. In order to get the perfect motion blur that looks the best for the cinematography rule, you're going to want to double your frame rate, whatever rate you're recording in, whether it be 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. You're going to want to double that frame rate to set the shutter speed. So for example, if you're recording 4K at 30 frames per second, you're going to want to go ahead and set your shutter speed to 1/60. That's going to be double the frame rate, and that's going to give you that perfect motion blur. Now, if you go ahead and double that frame rate and you notice that your picture is either too dark or too light, then you want to go ahead and change the neutral density filter, change the ND filter so it looks appropriate for the type of lighting that you're using. You do not want to raise your ISO to compensate for the darker or lighter ND filter. You want to take that ISO and you want to lower that all the way down to 100 or as low as it will go, because what will happen is if you raise the ISO, you actually will start to get noise in the video, and you will see that, and that's going to diminish from the cinematic type of video that you're trying to record. So make sure you keep that ISO all the way down as low as you possibly can, 100 or as low as it'll go. You want to double the frame rate for your shutter speed. So for example, 30 frames per second, you're going to want that 1/60 shutter speed. If you're going to be recording in 60 frames per second, then you're going to want to go ahead and do that 1/120 for the shutter speed. So you want to go ahead and just set that to auto for the white balance, and that should keep it nice and consistent for you, and you shouldn't notice too big of a difference. Now I will say with the polarized Cinema Series ND filters, you will notice a lot of the colors just look a lot more vibrant and a lot more crisp and more real to life with the footage that you record straight off the aircraft, which alleviates some of that post-editing that you may have to do if you weren't using ND filters. So keep that in mind when you're using these polarized cinema grade ND filters. They do give you a really nice color. It's not as big a deal as it used to be now that the Mavic Air 2 has the HDR recording, which gives you that nice colors out of the box, so to speak. But when you couple the HDR footage with the ND filters, you really get some nice, bright, vibrant colors out of your photography that looks really good on camera. Let's go ahead and summarize. ND filters are neutral density filters that are a darkened glass that darken the image so that you're able to lower your shutter speed to get that cinematography motion blur that looks more natural and appeasing to the human eye when we see things that are moving down low or moving fast. Like I said, up high you're not going to notice as much of a difference, but it will help with some of that glare if you're recording maybe some water or a nice bright building. I didn't purchase the Fly More combo because I wanted to purchase the aftermarket ND filters from Polar Pro, and Freewell just so happened to actually give me a set of ND filters for the Mavic Air 2 that I'm going to be giving away in this video. If you want to win these new Mavic Air 2 Freewell neutral density filters, you're going to have to follow these rules. Official rules will be down in the video description, so make sure you check those out. But basically, I'm going to make it really easy for you. You're going to want to like, share, and subscribe to my eDrone channel on YouTube. You're going to want to make sure you click that bell icon so you get notified first when I put out new content. And you're going to want to make sure you leave one comment and one comment only down below in the description, and that will enter you in the random comment picker that we're going to be picking a winner to win a free set of the Freewell brand new DJI Mavic Air 2 ND neutral density filters that I'm going to ship to you for absolutely free if you live in the United States. Now, if you enter this giveaway and you live outside of the United States, I do require that you pay for the shipping cost, and you'll get the neutral density filters for free. So basically, you pay for the shipping, you get the filters for free. Depending on where you live, I can give you an estimate of what the shipping will cost. So let's go ahead and summarize that international shipping must be paid for by the winner. So if you don't want to pay for shipping and you're outside the US, please don't enter this giveaway. If you live in the United States, I'm going to ship these filters to you 100% for free. So if you win this, you get these filters free and clear, no shipping cost, no extra cost. I really do like the ND filters, and it really does step up your cinematography game when you're recording with these drones, and it really does give you that nice motion blur that looks so much more natural to the eye when people are watching your footage. So make sure you utilize those, and make sure you have your settings all set up correctly, and make sure you choose the correct numbered ND filter depending on the time of day that you're using it. That way you get the most optimum results without having to do a lot of post editing as far as lightening and darkening of your video after you've got it recorded. Enter to win this giveaway by following the instructions down in the video description, and we'll be selecting a winner very soon. Make sure you check out my new DJI Mavic Air 2 playlist. I'll put a link up here in the pop up in the corner here. There'll be links down in the video description for the ND filters we talked about in this video, so make sure you check those out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe. More DJI Mavic Air 2 videos to come on the channel, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching. eDrone out.